Please, well, I'm here with Christine C. Clark to
Hello.
talk about the psychology of jealousy, which I think we can all relate to in some time in our life.
Mhm.
Sadly, Heather won't be here today because she's got a lot on tomorrow, so she's had to bail out. But what I'm going to do is we start talking. If anyone wants to join in and talk on the subject matter, um, feel free, but keep it to the subject matter of jealousy because what is I will be doing the Anne's boudoir again, where people can do little phone ins and we can talk about absolutely anything. So, hello, Humble Dryer, and got a few people in. So, Christine, introduce what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, I'm Christine Clark from the United States of America, and I have been a victim of jealousy. I'm also a psychology major, but I've had to take a break from my studies due to my victimization. It has affected me as a person, being treated really badly because of jealous people throughout my life. It became a major, major impacting situation as I have been and still am a victim of cyberbullying. So these are all the reasons why it's a huge topic for me that I want to discuss to help people on not only a psychological level, but a personal level that people can relate to all around the world. But also, it's also, there's people that have gone so far as to commit heinous crimes over jealousy. And
Oh,
I want to talk about the warning signs in relationships. I've printed out a lot of notes here, so I'm really prepared to talk about it on many levels. And Anne, I know you have a lot to offer with your life experience, your
mm.
professional experience, and
Oh yeah.
you must be an expert on people being jealous, as you are a stunning beauty and
Oh,
and
and
a,
now
and a
my
hmm,
modesty, Christine, my modesty won't let me respond to that. But yes, you're right. You're right. I mean, my beauty does cause a lot of problems. Especially women with their partners or their husbands. They don't like me near them because they're thinking, oh no, the competition is too great. But thank you for saying that, Christine. But I'm too modest to agree with it.
oh well. Let's not forget your intelligence.
Uh, oh no, it'll just go a long way, can't
Yes, yes,
it?
it does.
Are you Paris love? Are you mad? So yeah, so basically, what it is, this is the way I see it, is that jealousy really is. You can see that being under so many problems in society. Not only so many problems, you can see some good coming out of it because it's what makes humans human in a way. Because this competitive striving, I've always said this, when we go, oh, we should be a compassionate, loving, and the whole world should get on with each other. In the ideal now, that would be good. But actually, to evolve to the point where we're the dominant species on the planet and the most intelligent species on the planet, we had to have that competitive and that fightiness, that territorial, and that I want, and striving to get, or we'd never got where we are in today. But now it's become a redundant emotion, which is causing damage. Where in the past it got us where we needed to be and kept us safe. Now it's become a toxic um, emotion that we feel. But I think you need jealousy in some ways, and we have to be real about it. Um, in a healthy amount, but jealousy, as you said, I with my background in the theatre and all this, there was a lot of jealousy, and I hear people going, "Oh yes, the jealousy in the theatre." Look, anyone that works in the theatre and is a success knows what jealousy is, and they're just bullying it when they try to make it. Oh no, I wouldn't be jealous. I cheer people on for their because they're successful and all that. No, you
Mm,
wouldn't be where you are if you weren't jealous. Because I'll give you another word for jealousy: competitive. And in
yeah.
the entertainment industry, no matter what you're doing, you have to be ruthlessly competitive, especially to get to the top. But
Mm,
in that sense, America has a sort of different approach to the English. What is, if the Americans aren't going for that role themselves, say the Americans aren't say like ballet, if they're not a ballet dancer but they like ballet and they see ballet students or whatever going for it, they'll cheer them on. Brilliant, wonderful, great, and all this, unless they're going for it. But in England, there seems to be, and this is we're paying for it, we cheer people on until they get to success point. Then we want to drag them down. And that's all envy and jealousy does that. So what do you think about that and the difference between where you are and the UK? And what's your feeling of how the Americans approach success and jealousy?
Okay, so first of all, jealousy crosses the line in so many ways. Competitiveness you need to keep the idea of moderation in mind. You can be competitive and be very professional, show sportsmanship, just be very diligent in what you're doing, and
Yeah.
and keep in mind kindness, respect for others, and still be competitive.
Yeah.
And that's really the mindset you're supposed to hold as an athlete, or in what you're talking about, a ballet dancer, or in any field of art. And I am also an artist, and I lived in Laguna Beach for a long time in California, which is a huge place, or a little metropolis, if you will, of art, an art community. That's a better word. And artists are very competitive, and there is a lot of jealousy in that too. Painters, and that,
Yeah.
huge. And I experienced that as well. People say haters. That's another term, a modern term for that. So you just have to keep in mind that you need to be considerate of others always, and you
Yeah.
need to balance your mind. You got to keep that in mind, because jealousy will always overtake a person and ruin a person. Not
Yeah.
only does it ruin others, it ruins the person who is jealous, because it's all consuming. It's all
Oh, it
consuming.
can. I've
Mm-hmm.
known that personally. I've known that personally. This I like to be brutally honest about things like this because I think people can be, oh, they're always talking about someone else, aren't they, Christine? It's not them. But I can
Right.
remember, I think back and I say to myself, no, some of the things I did, no, and it was through pure jealousy, even though I may not have been admitting it to myself. And I think you horrible, nasty thing to it, really just been horrible to someone that I should have been really nice to. But because they were getting something that I wanted, it really peeved on me. And you're right there. It's how you do it. Are you doing it and being vindictive with it, which it can come out as vindictiveness. And I think to myself, and who did it hate at the end, Christine? It ended up hating me because one, I felt like when it sunk in, what was the force behind me being nasty, and how the person could have been a really good friend, but I
Mm-hmm.
got jealous of them, right? I
Okay.
ruined that. So you're right. It hates you more than it hates the person because that person just goes away and can get on with what they're doing. And it's like you're the loser, the one with the feelings of jealousy at the end of the day. So you're dead on there. You're right there. It hates the
And
person who's feeling it.
I respect you for recognizing that and removing it away from yourself and pointing, in your mind, your finger at it, recognizing it so that you don't repeat that behavior. I think that's really something admirable about
Yeah.
you.
Mm.
That's really good, because a lot of people never do that. And in the studies that I have done, there's no cure for jealousy for many people. They
Yeah.
become all consumed with it, not only for, again, committing it against other people, but within their relationships. And it just takes over their whole life, that they're just jealous about every single
Yeah.
thing. And
Mm.
they get stuck in that pattern, and they can't move on. They can never be successful. They just get very angry inside, and it stifles them. And
Yeah.
if they could only recognize that and I think the best way to make a change for a person that's consumed by jealousy is to stop focusing on everybody else, focus on being successful yourself, and do things that are positive for yourself,
Yeah.
and start doing things that make you happy. Do things that are something that makes you feel like you've achieved something yourself, and
Yeah.
every day work to do something that's positive and makes you feel accomplished. And that will help a person with jealousy, whether it's within their relationship. You become self-sufficient yourself, so you're not focused on your relationship wondering what they're doing all the time, wondering what your friends are doing all the time. Focus on
Yeah.
yourself, be positive, and become self-sufficient, and gain your own self-esteem so that you're not feeding off other
Yeah.
people and what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's the best
Because
best result for that person.
see, the thing is, and you notice it more, you see it, especially, I don't know whether you've been aware of it, I doubt it being in America, but we're having this thing called the podcast wars going on at the moment, where
Oh.
these bad boys or ex-bad boys of bare knuckle fights and all this are all kicking off at each other. And really, and people are seeing this, and lots of people who are drawing back, or you see them coming back from this podcast wars thinking, this is jealousy. This
Mm-hmm.
is a hive of jealousy. It's not that, it's that people have got genuine gripes against each other. They're jealous. And as I say, like the bally snap, it's like watching it really is worse, actually. Much, much worse. It's like when you, because I can only relate to my own history, and when you'd be waiting for there be a new production coming up and you'd be waiting for the parts to be announced. You used to get the parts announced on a wall, who would be in what ballet, and you didn't have a say. You never had a choice in it. You'd be given this character in this ballet if you were lucky enough to get in the ballet. The tenseness and the buzzing would be going on, and that's when you get the biting at each other. But when I look at these, podcasts, these are supposed to be tough men and all this business, or bare knuckle fights and all this. The worst. They are so bitchy. It's unbelievable. And I think they really want to. Do you know what they want to do, Christine? They really want to meet up with me, and I'll give them some makeup advice and, things like that. So the way they're acting can match the stereotypical queen that they're acting like. It's just queens without makeup on, screaming at each other. But they're ripping each other to bits. And what it's doing, and I don't agree with them much, but Sean Atwood said about this business of podcasts attacking each other. He said, actually, all that's doing at the end of the day, it stopped channels growing to the full potential.
Right.
And it's because they're not with each other now. The other thing is, as anyone will know, when you have drama, you only have to look at the reality TVs. When you have drama, it has to be more dramatic for people to keep watching. They're more dramatic, but there's a limit it goes to. And then people just get bored and think, oh, I've had enough of all this. So it's a self-eating animal. It just destroys anyone that's in it.
Right.
Yeah. We got any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm just reading that. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Not good comment there.
Oh, do you know what? I swear to Christ, no. Just wait, give us a second. I'm just going to have to debate this. Someone's waiting to come in, Christine, and I don't know whether to let them or not. Because it's just not. Actually, I'm not. Sorry. You're not coming in. I can't be bothered because I know it's going to be I can't be asked with whinging. I just can't be. I'm not. Yeah, sorry, you're not coming in. No, someone was trying to get in and I can't be bothered because I've just had a spat between me and him and I can't be bothered with it. He's not bringing it on here. Let's put it this way. Not now. He could do it at another show. Come in on, you know who you were. Come in on the live when I'm doing the boudoir or the hump day with Anne. Don't do it here. This is we're having a serious discussion here. You can have your bitching session on those ones. So sorry about that, Christine. Go on.
Oh, that's all right. So now that made me lose my train of thought where we were, but that's okay. No, that's not your fault or anybody's fault. It just happens. So I understand that. But I was just reading that comment there. Do you think jealousy is born from suspicion? And that kind of got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it is born from suspicion, and that, in many cases, and that goes into the line of relationships. Um, and there are warning signs in that regard. And there is a time when you feel jealous, and there's a reason for it.
Mm,
You can't let that consume you. If you see red flags in a relationship, you obviously have the right as a person to know the truth about what's going on, find the truth, and make a decision to leave. Because many times the person who's causing the suspicion is cheating. And therefore, that person, many people that cheat do not change. So it's better for the person to leave and not live a life of misery. I've been there. I've been the victim of that. And why let 10, 15, 20 years pass and your life has been miserable? It's better to find the truth, leave, and be
mm,
happy. Better to be single than live with somebody and live in misery, and you're 25 years old later, years older, and your life has passed you by because of someone who decided to lie to you your whole life. And there are warning signs. When it's easy to see warning signs of an unhealthy relationship. If you know what to look for, first, anything that makes you feel uncomfortable or fearful is a clear red flag.
mm.
It's a given if someone is abusing alcohol or drugs in a relationship will be unhealthy, but there are many other warning signs that you should be aware of. If you see any signs of these, get out fast. Aggressiveness, someone who's trying to control you, any type of imbalance of power or controlling behavior in a relationship is unhealthy. Any behavior that is aggressive is unhealthy. Actual physical abuse, that's obvious that's a sign to leave a relationship. Possessive behavior may take a form of jealousy or impose isolation. Self-centeredness, all of us can be self-centered from time to time. It's necessary to be part of it's a necessary part of self-preservation, whereas becomes a problem where selfishness becomes a problem is when everything resolves around how it affects one individual with no consideration for the other. Manipulation and frequent criticism, dishonesty, and things of that nature. Let's see what else is there. Irresponsibility in that other person, those are signs to leave. um, Signs of the person having narcissistic behavior, when they have no remorse for what they've
Yeah.
done.
Mm,
Those are signs to leave. And obviously it's unhealthy to be jealous, but there is a time when you need to recognize red flags, and they may spurn a feeling of jealousy within you because you're being lied to, cheated on. And
yeah.
that can be something that's considered good, that you're aware. But don't let your life fall into a trap of becoming consumed with betrayal, because that person is betraying you, and you're always feeling jealous and upset and angry because you're being victimized by your mate. And it's better to find the truth, and you
Mm,
don't need it to be finding them in bed together. Sometimes the red flags are obvious enough, and just
yeah.
face that and find a way out and get into a healthy situation where you might have to, be single for a while, and that's healthy. And sometimes it
Oh,
takes
yeah.
a few years to be single, and it's better because when you're single for a while after a relationship like that, you get rid of all that. You get healthy, you get strong, you get self-sufficient, and then you don't take the baggage from that negative
Yeah.
relationship into a new wonderful relationship, and you're
Oh,
a better
this
person for that new relationship.
that's it. It only, and I've said this before, Dave. I've got you here, but I'll just let me say this, then I'll let you on, Dave. Don't think I haven't seen you. Um, Now, what gets me is that with relationships, see this. I don't know. I can sound really harsh and cynical at times, but I think too much times people get mixed up between lust and love. The two different things, and that's why relationships usually last about 5 minutes. But if you're going to go into a relationship, your best, as you say, being as grounded and healthy as you can from the standpoint of You're not bringing baggage from your other relationship into the new one if you want it to work. And people can tend to jump from one relationship to another,
Mhm.
which
Yes.
to me, it's dangerous, and it's going to end up destroying the relationship if it's up, because who wants to have that baggage brought with them?
No.
And that's the thing. But let's see what Dave's got to say. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Anne. How are you?
Right, get lost.
Why you can't chat?
Get lost. Get lost. Do you know what? He's a creepy dude. Do you know what? He really is. Do you see that? That's the fella I had to block. Right. He's come on in one of his sock accounts, trying to force his way in. He said in an email, I'll just say this very quickly so people aren't confused. People in there will know who I'm talking about, right? He was slagging me off in a comment on a site that has got hate speech on about me. This person I had his back ages ago when he was getting hate speech off someone, right? Now, he sent me an email, cease and desist. You get this, you work this one out, cease and desist, because I dared to let people know that he was a two-faced git doing that. And this big, long cease and desist. And he's so dramatic over it. Oh, God, dramatic. Christ, he missed his... he did miss his call, and when he didn't go into the theatre, Victorian theatre, more like us. And then I more or less wiped it off, and all kinds of legal things like you cannot publish this email, no this. I can publish any email that comes to me that's unsolicited. So anyway, he's the one saying don't contact me anymore, and 3 times he's just tried to get into my show, and I don't want to know. Look, Reese, I don't want to know you. Let's just make that clear. I don't want to know you. You know me thoughts on you. I'm not going to blurt them out here. I told you in the email what I thought to you. Now keep away and keep to your own little corner, because I don't want to know. Sorry about that, Christine, but sometimes you have to
No.
put people straight to get them
No,
out.
and I want to say this. This podcast is about all of the discussions that we talk about are usually
Yeah,
about ending victimization, helping people, lifting people up, and it's always positive. So that's why we're here, and this is the forum. It's to help people and just educate the best that we can, and we're being positive. We're helping people
yeah,
here.
that's it.
That's
That's it.
where we are.
I mean, it's for another one. You heard me saying, come on to one of the others, not this one. This isn't a drama fest. This isn't a bitching fest. If you want to come on one of the other ones, Reese, do, because I tell you now, you'll be going away with your tail between your legs. If you think Sharon Gale was harsh on you, my God, just come to me. Come to me, and you'll know what getting put in your place is. So there we go. That's out the way, darling. But you can see I'm not happy with them. But you don't know what's been going on in the
No.
background with them.
Okay.
Well, Paris has made a good point here. Jealousy normally comes from a gut instinct and it's mostly right. I've been there. It's a bad trait to have, but can save a lot of pain in the long run. Now, that's an
Absolutely.
interesting thing, interesting view on it. Can it be actually a positive thing, having jealousy?
What we just said, I said earlier, is
Yeah,
exactly right.
exactly that. Yeah, I
Agree.
think that, yeah, that is true. And that's what I'm saying. There is a positive side. It can be a protection mechanism as well.
Absolutely.
But it's when it gets toxic. And as you've said in previous ones, you were a victim of terrible stalking and narcissism. And you usually find, and this is the question, which has just shot to my mind now, considering your backstory. You know, when people get, and this is what I can't understand, know when someone's stalking you or victimizing you, and other people get involved who have you don't even know them really, but they get involved and help in the stalking.
Yeah.
That is a form of jealousy because they hate you, isn't it? Because the
Oh,
jealousy, and you don't know them.
exactly what
You don't
happened
know
to
them.
me.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bit that gets me. Why would anyone want to get involved in bullying and stalking someone who actually don't know them? That I've seen that happening. I've seen it happening a few times, and it always seems to happen to women. And it's like you'll get this fella, and suddenly a man or a woman will join in, and it's like gang bullying. And it's like, but you don't even
Exactly.
know this person. Why
No
are
one's
you
allowed to
bullying?
do it at all, of course,
Yeah,
but it's very, very disgusting, best word I can come up with, that other people who don't, like you said, that don't even know the victim are joining in with the
yeah,
person that actually knows the victim. And like you said, gang stalking, gang bullying, like that. And that's what I'm a victim of.
yeah.
And
It
no one's
is.
allowed to do it. It's a federal crime. It's a crime,
Yeah,
global crime. You're not allowed to do it to anybody. That's on the record.
but it is. Oh, here we are, Paris. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Hey, Paris. I bet. Yeah, you go on. I bet you can. You're like me. I bet you when someone comes at you, you can handle yourself, can you? Ray? You can. But is there a little? Just let's see. Now, Bumblebee, I know who you are. Come on now, behave yourself. Don't be just be nice in the chat. Get along with people. That's the way forward, to get along with people. So I know you can be good when you want to, because you're a very talented man. This is what I've always said, Bumblebee. You're a very talented man. Focus on that talent, and anything that's getting on it, leave it at the sidelines, and you'll find you'll get on much, much better. But just sort of say that little things is just going
Right.
on here. But yeah, so any more things you want to say about this, how it can express itself, jealousy, where you might not actually expect it to be or recognize it to be jealousy?
Oh, could you repeat that? Because I was reading that comment and I want to talk about that comment right there
Oh,
too.
come on, you talk about that now. Go on.
Oh, I like that because it does happen in the workplace, and it's absolutely, it's on so many levels. It's so wrong because it stifles someone professionally, and that's
Right.
happened to me too, where I really excelled in a position, and actually when the people who were really jealous of me that were in the same office were not there, I would just
Mm,
shine, and as soon as they were in there with because of their behavior towards me, it just stifled me completely, and it's so wrong. And
yeah.
actually, if they're reported, if they're in a higher position than you to the labor board, they can actually be dismissed because of ill treatment and so forth like that. But it's inappropriate, and it stifles someone's ability to work.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. Do you have anything to say about that, Anne, because of your professional background?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I found it not only I could see the reason behind it in the entertainment world, the ballet world, or whatever. I could see that why people were doing it, because I was involved in that kind of behavior myself. And it was always very sneaky as well. It would come up behind you. I used to say you never have friends in the entertainment industry. You have colleagues, always friends. But when I started going into what I call the real world, and especially the police, this was the
Mm-hmm.
shock I got, because the police is horrendously competitive for those who want to climb the ranking system.
Mm-hmm.
It is like how you say, it's like someone wanting to go from the corps de ballet to soloist to face soloist, then getting right up there to the top to premier dancer or prima ballerina. And they'll absolutely cutthroat, ruthless. They'll destroy anyone and the family with it. It was worse. So the workplace can be extremely toxic, and you've got to also be willing to let yourself be used in some workplaces. But what gets me is in the workplace as well, which I didn't find in the theatre. I found in the theatre there was usually jealousy or competitiveness because you had something or were going for something that they wanted. So they had a reason for it. But in workplaces, you can get people being jealous and bullying of someone that's no threat to them. They're just there, basically. And for some reason, they want to bully them because they don't like them. And of course, because
Right.
someone's trapped, it's like being in a relationship. Actually, if you're caught in a relationship, you can be trapped in that relationship. So the person doing the abusing can carry on abusing you because you don't know, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I'll have no money if I leave this relationship. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same with work. If you're in work, you're thinking, I'll get the sack here if I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
complain, which is
Exactly.
it's a true thing. They go, oh, we have a complaints policy. Come to us and complain. No organization wants to admit that there's problems going
That's
on
so true.
inside. So you complain, you become the one that's going to be the target. So yeah,
Exactly.
I find it's ways. I could see the reason for it in the entertainment world. In ordinary businesses or the real world, as they call it, I could never work out the horrible thing. But yeah, it is like a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel
You're
trapped
there
because
more than you are home most of
yeah,
the time.
that's it.
And I worked in misery for several years in a a company that I was with, and I really loved my job. So I can relate to that person that made that comment because, like I said, you're there 8, 10 hours a day, and
Yeah,
and I didn't complain about it. I was afraid, like you said, to be fired or dismissed.
yeah,
Um, and when it's your boss, that's feeling threatened by your looks or whatever,
mm,
my case, then, and she just would have that very jealous personality.
yeah,
And I tried so hard to get along. That's the kind of person I am. I get along with people very well, and I enjoy people, and I love people. I'm a people person,
yeah,
and I really extended myself to get along with everybody. And it was like having another job at a job, trying to be this diplomat all the time.
yeah. And
It was so hard, so I get it.
oh, it is ridiculous. And you'd see, and this is another horrible thing that you go on, and you don't. This is, I think, one of the major differences between men and women is that when you get men in the workplace, they'll have it out, but it could be a bit of jealousy, but usually they'll have a dispute and they'll have it out. But I think women in the workplace, when one gets jealous of another one, especially if it's because of the partner they've got or because of the looks or whatever, not they are holding on to it. They hold on to it. I won't let it go. And I've always found that it's more intense. Where with men, it's sporadic. It's done, and then it will blade up again. But women, when they're jealous, they can be really, really nasty with it. Very, very nasty with it. And that's what I
Mhm.
always found disturbing about it. So what's your views on that? On the
My
difference between the sexes?
There's a lot to be said about the difference between the sexes. I have found a lot of different things about it. You know, uh, let's see. Men seem to commit more crimes over jealousy, for one thing, violent crimes over
Yeah.
jealousy.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it.
and women seem to become more jealous in relationships because of cheating situations.
Mm,
But yeah, there's a study I read, this fascinating, from East Asian Archives of Psychiatry of Jealousy and Violence, which I would like to send you that link after this.
yeah.
This is absolutely fascinating, and it goes on, and it's so much writing, but it's absolutely fascinating. It's an absolutely fascinating read about jealousy and violence and what happens, and different personality disorders and things to recognize, so that you don't get into a relationship when it's like there's a strong impression supported by clinical studies that the level of violence and morbid jealousy is markedly increased. Jealous delusions often bring with them an insatiable desire for confirmation of suspicious, combined with rage, engendered by both the conviction of betrayal and continued denial by the suspected partner of what the deluded individual believes is incontrovertible evidence. Incontrovertible evidence. Violence is not, however, confined to those jealousies which qualify psychopathologically as morbid, and attempts to use the emergence of overt violence and violence as the defining characteristic of morbid jealousy, and are misguided and potentially mischievous. This goes on and on about how to like really, really be careful in relationships,
Yeah.
because things can escalate into murder
Oh, yeah.
over jealousy, and it has over centuries in time. It's happened. So I want to give you that link because it's so much to read.
Will
And
do. Do you think, though, Christine, when it comes to jealousy in relationships, where it gets to the point where it's psychopathic, you can say it's gone to that level where it's actually could end in murder. I remember My mama used to always say this, no, stuck in my mind. You know, when a man is always paranoid that his partner is cheating on him, you know,
Mhm.
and he's trying to, I saw you looking at this man and all that.
Oh
My
God.
mama always used to say, they know their own ways best. She always said that. And she said, to the pure, all is pure. In other words, if they are, when someone sees something in you, say that your partner thinks that you're cheating all the time when you're not, but they convince you are. She used to always say it's usually because they know they have the potential to cheat. So
Mhm.
they're expecting the partner to do it. And it's like
Yeah.
this, you see in others, and you see this a lot, people start accusing others of what they're actually doing
Yeah.
and condemn them for it.
Projecting. Mhm.
So this is it. And I think the big thing, I can't even see this. Someone's here.
Discredit everything you say and do. Oh, when they discredit everything you say and do.
Hey, well, let's see if this is someone again. Let's see.
Hiya. Hi.
Oh, oh, well, look, I got a shock then. I didn't know who you were. Sorry, sweetheart. How are you, super?
I'm all right, Anne. Thanks for having me on and everything. I've just been listening to your
Yeah,
jealousy thing, yeah, man. And I sort of agree. You know, I
yeah.
personally have never ever been jealous of anybody, and I find that it is a thing with like people that, and I've seen, you know, in relationships, I've seen in, you know, people, and I think it's a really bad trait, you know, to have in anybody, and
Mm.
I find it really difficult to explain to anybody not to be jealous, and yeah,
I
yeah,
think what I think what it is, it's I say jealousy. It depends. I say where you are, what you're doing, what environment you're in, what your aspirations are. Sometimes you can't avoid it because it's the whole mechanism that you need. As I was saying before, Super, about you know, the entertainment world and the ballet world and all that, and even the police world, where there's a ranking system that you get the higher up, the more money you get, and this business. Well, in that environment, you'll never get up that ladder unless you do get jealous and envious of others and think, no, I want what you've got.
but
And
why
that's
would you
sort of
ever do that? Why would you ever do that?
because you've everyone else is doing it. And you've got to say, right, I want it. It's a grab all. In other words, it's a dog world in that you could call it the survival of the fittest sort of idea that way, that the ones that struggle the most, because don't forget it's intense. It's intense. I was watching before, funny enough, an American, they're doing ballet competitions in America, and there was a Winston Salem at half of this competition of young ballet dancers trying to go forward, which I must say, oh, some of them, I don't know who's training them, but they're telling them to do audition pieces or competition pieces that are way beyond the capabilities. They're too young
Mhm.
to be doing them, and they're
Mhm.
looking terrible. But now, when you look at that, it's like years ago when I was a young person in ballet, if you had a competition, you'd have about at most 80 people. Now it's, you see, number 800 and this, number 1000 and this. And all those people, all those students are out to win. They have to win to get into the companies to get the work that they need. So that jealousy, even though it doesn't always show itself, there is always that jealousy
But
because they've got to go.
that's a competition type thing, right? That's a
Yeah.
competition thing. So that they are competitive. So I don't think they're necessarily like jealous of that other person in the ballet sort of like thing,
They
are
are.
they?
Oh, it gets vicious. It gets vicious. And you'll hear people saying, and every ballet company's the same. It's like once they get to that success, it's like, oh, you know, they'll say that the other company members are so, you know, envious them. Actually, the film, think of Black Swan. goes into this a bit, that jealousy element and how it does, and it does get extremely intense. And it even happens to young ones. I remember when I was dancing, because they're around about my age, we had two, what they call baby ballerinas. At that time, Trinidad Severiano. And what was the other one's name? She was from America, and I can't remember her name. Oh, God, and she was brilliant. She was a brilliant dancer. Well, the jealousy, because they were so young and were getting major parts, was intense. And they discussed this. They said it was horrible. Trinidad Severiano went through a terrible time, and she said, it's just that they don't understand. They're thinking, you're so young and you're getting all these parts. And she said, it's not a nice feeling to go in like that. And you see that. So, because of course, these people have trained from children. And ballet is one of those things you're not going to get there until you're towards being an adult. And only very few are. Very, very few are ever going to make it even into the corps de ballet after years and years of training. So it's like, it's all kinds of emotions. But I'm getting off track more or less. But yes, it can be vicious. I mean, you're talking about people soaping floors and everything to make a dancer slip over. So when they're doing the audition, so it can happen something terrible.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it gets bad. It gets very, very bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
So how do you approach jealousy, Super, when it manifests in front of you? Say you see it happening around you. How do you cope with it, or how do you deal with it?
Well, I just watch it for I watch it for a bit, and I just like, I get it. I get like a jealousy thing, and it's like, it's one of those things that's like happened throughout my life and stuff with the jealousy stuff. And I kind of, I don't know how to handle that jealousy thing. I do, because I deal with it, how it's dealt with, but it's a really bad trait, and I just don't see how people are jealous of anything. How can you be jealous of anybody? Because jealousy it's like a thing, isn't it? It's like, I'm jealous, like Dave the Scousen said before, I'm jealous of people with money and stuff. How can you be jealous of money? How can you be jealous of?
I can understand that.
I know you can, but like, I just like, I couldn't be jealous of anybody who had money, or who had a car, who had a house, or who had whatever, because I could never do that. And I don't get how anyone can be jealous of anything. I just don't get it. I don't get jealousy whatsoever. I just think it's a thing that is, it's like, why did jealousy even come from? Why is it even in people to be jealous of other people? Why can't,
Because you wouldn't be here now. We wouldn't be the dominant species on the planet only for envy and jealousy and striving to be the dominant one. No. And that's what I've always said. It's people, it's like, I always said this when people go on about, no, the human race, we should be at peace and all this. It's not going to happen, because we've evolved from an ape that we know was viciously territorial and viciously competitive. In other words, they had the domain. That's why people now, when they're in a country, they're patriotic or whatever, it's their homeland. That's the trait that got us where we are now, and we'll fight and we'll kill to keep our area, our patch of land, and we'll do anything for that. And of course, people are always wanting what other people have, so that's why you have wars erupt and all that. Say they want what you've got. But the truth of the matter is, Super, if we hadn't had that trait, that longing to get on, that longing to achieve and be the best, we'd still be swinging in the trees. And that's the truth. We'd be swinging in the trees. We wouldn't have evolved, because there'd been no reason. You only evolve when there's a reason to evolve. And in one of our primates, something was driving us forward to be the most dominant one. And
I don't think that was jealousy, though, Anne.
Oh, you can see it as jealousy, yeah, because why would anyone else want to declare war on another country?
I know, there's like, it's a fine line, isn't it, between jealousy and like competitive and like war and all that. I think, coming back to the sort of like grassroots of it, the jealousy bit is like one person being jealous of somebody else and stuff.
Yeah, and it can lead
And
to
that grows. I get what you're saying and
Yeah.
stuff. I just think, like you said in the middle, it's like, being jealous in the workplace. I've been there. I've been in positions where I've been working and like people have turned up. There's been one woman boss, yeah, and I've been the only woman surrounded by like 3 men, and like, I brought in like the best sort of like deal and stuff, and the other 3 men are jealous of me doing that, and I get that, but it's just,
Well, someone's just asked a question here, Chloe Laura's just asked a question, Super. If you don't understand your emotions, maybe you don't feel it, but that's a lack of emotional awareness. It seems weird to say you've never experienced jealousy. Now, how do you respond to that question?
I have experienced jealousy. I've experienced jealousy in relationships, definitely. And
but have you experienced it yourself?
Yeah.
You being jealous? Yeah,
I've never been. I don't think that I've ever been jealous. I've never been jealous. I don't find anything to be jealous of, because I'm not a jealous person. But there are like jealous people out there, and I find it difficult to understand why they're jealous. Why would you be jealous of something or anything when you've got yourself and you've got your whole thing around you? Why would you not be content with what you've got and everything?
What do you think of that, Christine? Yeah.
Well, jealousy is a derivative of shame, and if you're happy within yourself and you feel good about yourself, then you're not a jealous person. You could be a victim of jealous people and never be jealous of anybody in your life. And I feel that same way about myself. I'm not jealous of people. I love people. I see the beauty in people. I see the positivity in people. I see the best things in people. And many times that's why I have fallen victim, because there's people out there that have come into my life that have had bad qualities that I've overlooked, but seen the beauty in them. But their bad qualities have overtaken them and the relationship that we have shared. And then I've become the victim of that. Okay. Yeah. And I had to recognize the red flags, though there may have been a few, were more prominent than their good qualities, and had to walk away from that relationship because it was hurting me. Though I tried to fix it. We can't fix people. They have to fix themselves.
Exactly.
And some people will not want to fix themselves, not recognize what they have to fix within themselves, or not care, or think they are perfect, or they're narcissistic and they have no remorse and they don't feel there's anything wrong with them, and they continue to point fingers at everybody else. So they're about that. But the emotion of jealousy is a derivative of shame, and it informs us of an obstacle to the connection between ourselves and a loved one, alerting us to a threat in a relationship. That's just a fact.
It's a good one that I'd like the two of you to think of. TG has just come up with a really good one, I think, which is showing a different side of jealousy, where it can come from. Jealousy can be instilled from childhood. The special attention received from an abusive father caused sister to suffer psychological jealousy, to the point of doing vicious things to me all our lives. Now, sibling, I was going to say that at some point, sibling jealousy. How the hell do you cope with that? Because when that arises, it's vicious. I've seen it happening.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
That's true.
Where Super Efforts, you turn around and you say you can't understand jealousy. When I see siblings at war with each other, my God, it's like, what?
Yeah,
could you imagine that they love each other because they're blood bonded, aren't they?
It's horrible, isn't it?
It's horrible.
It is horrible. I was blessed with a good upbringing and a brother, and it's just horrendous. It's like horrible to hear that happens and stuff, and it's hard, man. Yeah, man.
Because it destroys this. It doesn't only destroy them; it destroys the whole future generations, because they get separated, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah,
I think every family has it. Christine.
We feel jealous when we feel threatened, and jealousy can be triggered by many factors. Perhaps the most common trigger is when someone feels a personal threat aimed at a relationship that they value. See? So in a family situation, they feel threatened because that relationship is very valuable.
Yeah.
And this threat comes from a third party that makes someone feel as if they are being replaced. So it goes along with what that person said about the sibling.
Yeah, that's it. It's oh, thank you, Miss Hendricks. This is what I mean, but you know, I can't. I'd love to be in your position. So now, as I'm older, I don't get jealous now.
I'd like to be in your position, Anne.
But what is? I think life is your life. I think if I'd left my life and not been as intense as I was when I was younger. Very intense.
I feel a little bit similar, yeah, man.
But it would have been easier for me. I think, you know, if I hadn't been so like that driven and so intense and everything. I mean, I'd make dramas out of things that didn't have to be dramas.
But you had to do this to get to this point.
Yeah. And it's like, I would have been more happy. You know, on Paris Barrington's boat. Paris Barrington's got a barge boat. And I could be sitting there, luxury, not having with Paris, when I go I keep on saying this to Paris so she doesn't forget. I'm going down there in the summer and she's going to be spoiling me something wrong. It's on your Paris, yes, I keep on into Paris. But yeah, it's I think life would be, and I've met such lovely people, who they never feel an ounce of jealousy towards anyone.
Yeah.
And when you suddenly see them and you can be jealous of that. Do you know what? I've been jealous in the past of someone who wasn't jealous. And I thought, honestly, I thought, why can't I be a nice person all the time like that? I used to actually think that. But, you can be jealous of someone that isn't jealous. That's another thing that happens. So, yeah, it's strange. It's very, very strange. It is. But yeah, because I used to always say that. You say that a few of my friends were very close to it. Say, you know what? I'd say, oh, why can't I just? I said, in work. I said, when I'm out, especially in a working environment, I said, why can't I just say, oh, let's be friends? I said, why do I have always everything's business? And I said, it's never anything else but business. And I remember one of them used to say to me, said, that's the best way to have it. Always remember when you're in work, you're not socializing with your friends, because that's when it can go really wrong. But I'd see people to be all like friendly with each other. But I saw this in the police, funny enough, they'd all be friendly with each other.
Yeah.
And then when someone would move to another block, they'd never hear from them again. And they'd be like, oh, I thought you were such, is that? And I'd be like, oh, I got it wrong from the beginning. It's not real friendship. It's just as long as the person's on the same block as then it's friendship.
It's like YouTube, isn't it? It's like
YouTube. Oh, exactly. It's like YouTube. It's exactly like, God, don't you see it going on in YouTube?
Honestly.
Oh my God, it's horrendous. So, Christine, if you got anything else to say on this?
Well, just what you were saying, jealousy is never a good thing, but it can, like we said, we can recognize the feelings of jealousy as red flags to trigger us to pay attention in a situation when you're in a relationship and someone is doing something that are acts of betrayal that you need to be aware of, so that you can make a positive choice or a healthy choice to leave that relationship. And you should be made aware that it's not good for you, and if you have children, to leave that relationship.
Oh God.
So feelings of jealousy may be an innate warning for you to be aware of what's going on. That's normal. That's normal. As long as you're not the type of person that is a jealous person on a toxic level to where you're hurting other people emotionally, or in the worst case scenario, it turns into a criminal situation where your jealousy grows enormously to where it turns into a criminal act that you're
That's
committing.
so important.
Whether it's cyberbullying or a violent act of physical violence, because it happens. And the other thing, many situations where feelings of jealousy are triggered have little to do with someone else's qualities or the interest of a partner may have interest, or the interest a partner may have in another person. Instead, they may have more to do with one's own self-perception that becomes amplified by a partner's behavior. And also emotions evolved to inform us. Like I also said this, experiencing the toxicity of jealousy provides a rare opportunity to learn, which is important. So learn from it. And also jealousy offers an opportunity to look within, consider what we want for ourselves, reflect on how we want to be treated by others, and give thought to what we are going to do about it.
Exactly.
So don't let it take over you. Learn from it. And like you said earlier, Anne, it's really important what you said, and I liked it very much, that you caught yourself being jealous and you recognized it, you stepped away from it, you removed it from yourself, and you probably made a change within yourself to not let that take over and all consume you, which is important.
It can be, it eats you away. It's like anger. It's like they say, negative emotions eat away at you, and it's the pain. That's what you were saying, weren't you, Super? Everyone, it destroys you in the end. It doesn't destroy the person. The person can go away, and usually, if they're in a situation where you're jealous of them, they can forget about you and leave you with your jealousy there. But here's a good one from Simo. I really like this question. I don't get jealous of people. I focus on myself and don't compare to others, or it gives you a false targets. That's that. Now I've never thought of that way. It gives you false targets. I interpret that meaning that if you're jealous of someone and you're going after what they've got to be better than them, maybe the end result is it's not what you really wanted in the end, and it won't satisfy you. I think that's very important. Be careful that what you're jealous of is something like, what's that saying? Be careful for what you wish for, because you might just get it.
Exactly.
And that's so true.
Have you ever been jealous, Anne, of anybody?
Oh, God, I was saying, I was brought up in that environment where everyone was jealous. It was really nasty as well at times. But the Bally world is, I say, horrendously competitive. I mean, people do think, because that it's all, everyone having fun and getting on and everyone loves each other. It's not all, even from young children, it's not like that. From a young child, you really learn how to, and I always say to people, it's not a profession to put your child into if they're delicate in any way, or, I mean, it depends how young. I was 5 when I started, so that was very young. So I was molded to be able to survive in that environment from very, very young. I got molded to it. But if someone comes into it, let's say, which is quite late actually, 12 years old or something like that, but you can get people starting late. They're not molded. They haven't had that years of growing up being molded to this way, and it can be a culture shock for them. And oh my God, this is completely what I wasn't expecting. And it's not always in your face. It can be sneaky as well. But I call it, that's why I say the person who came up with the idea for the film with Natalie Portman, Black Swan, got it so right when they wrapped it all up in paranoia. She goes paranoid in the end, and that's what destroys her. That's what it instills. There's a hell of a lot of ballet dancers out there, ex-ballet dancers, that have serious mental health issues.
I once went on stage, like as a dancer, when I was little, and this girl started on me, and she bit me on stage. I absolutely fucking leathered her. And the guy went, shut the curtains. But anyway, I get what you're saying. I didn't have that experience. But man.
I attacked someone once
Did you?
Oh yeah, how old was I? I was about 14, and he was going on and on and on, and I thought, and in those days, I don't know whether everyone was saying, but those days, though I didn't go home to my parents at that time when I was training, I was well away from them. But if I complained to my parents' view was, if it was kids calling kids, oh, don't come here with me with your tittle tattle, go and sort it out yourself. They wouldn't get involved because they used to always say, yeah, we get involved, have hell, and then 5 minutes later, your mates again. Not getting involved, sort it out yourself, grow up. Well, this one was going on, and we used to have these like locker rooms, big iron locker rooms.
Listen, I was there for the box of sweets at the end of the show, man.
Oh, but he was just there going on, and I remember it was something pathetic was going on, and I just thought, I've got to stop this now. And he had an audience, and that's what made it worse. And I thought they're going to get strength from this. And I was always non-violent or anything like that, but I always had amazing strength when I summoned it up. So I just got him by his arm and literally swung him right round, and let him go and smashed him right into the thing.
Right round, baby, right.
Yeah, that was it. And he just went right into it, and he went and bounced off it. And so I looked at all of them, and I just stood there, and I wasn't even fearful because I was that annoyed. And I said, "Come on!" I said, "Who wants to get the face smashed in next?" I said, "I'm a Scouser." I said, I thought, why did I say that? Giving Scouts a bad image. I'm a Scouser. Come on, bring it on. And so they knew not to do it again. But that was the only time it's not the only time I've had to fight.
No, but that was the major time.
Yeah, but it was always started on me, the fight, someone thinking they could get the best from me. So I called it self-defense. In other words, I told them, don't touch me. But that was the first time I ever lashed out, or the only time when someone didn't put their hand on me, they were just mouthing off. But I've responded with it.
But that wasn't jealousy, right? That was a different thing. I don't think you don't seem to me, Anne, that you're a jealous type of person. Yeah, you seem.
I can be. I
don't think you. I don't personally think you're jealous. I think you're more of a headstrong person who wants to win, and I think there's a difference between a jealous person and a competitive person. I don't see a jealous person in you at all. I've listened to your sort of podcasts and chats and everything, and your stories and your chats are absolutely brilliant, and you just seem to be that person.
Well, what annoys me, I tell you what absolutely annoys me.
Am I all right to drink on your channel? Am I all right? Do you mind?
Yeah, go on. You do whatever you want. As long as you keep your clothes on.
All right.
Keep your clothes on. That's all that I insist on.
Yeah.
But I think with YouTube, the jealousy stakes. I mean, people have said to me, and they love throwing this allocation at everyone, actually, not just me. And they go, "Oh, you're just jealous." When you're making a valid point about someone, actually, you get accused of jealousy, but it isn't jealous; it's a valid point. But then, this is what I think, and I'd like to ask the two of you this, and people in the chat, what you think of this. I get a lot of people, oh my God, hating on me, saying the most horrendous things, who I've never even had any conversation with. I don't know who they are, never met them, never had them on my channel talking to me. I've never had any talk with them. Yeah, I'll catch them on another live podcast or a podcast, calling me for everything, saying the most disgusting, vile things. Now, that to me is the epitome of jealousy. I've got something they want, because why the hell would they be so jealous of me?
Why would they be jealous of you, Anne? Yeah. Why would they be jealous of you? For what reason?
Well, maybe beauty, brains.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said earlier.
Yeah, that's what the jealous of. But I can't understand why. It's like, I'd see this, and you get this. If it's someone that doesn't like me or I've had an argument with, I can understand it in a way. I don't think it's right, but it's like you see these nasty little gremlins, usually in another account, on another account. There's channels that are literally set up. There's one, and his whole chat is nothing at times. But me, I've never been on a show. I've got no intention of going on the show because it does cut into me, and it's like I've never even been on your show. I don't know who you people are, and yet they have long conversations about me, and it's like, oh my God, this jealousy is drowning me. I'm drowning in your jealousy. I've got so much
It's
that
like
you
my
want.
mum used to say to me, you know, if somebody's talking about you, then they're leaving somebody else alone, right?
Oh yeah, when they're talking about you, they're leaving someone else
They
alone.
are
That's
though,
a
aren't they? So
yeah, that's a true saying.
you have to sort of do that and stuff, and it's mad, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is definitely.
Somebody brought up a question a couple minutes ago. I don't want to leave it out because it was a really good
Yeah.
question. It said, "What's the difference between envy and jealousy?" Which is, I think, a really good question. And to me, envy is when you really wish you had something. You really wish you had it, but you're not hurting anybody and you're not hating anybody. You just really wish you had it. And jealousy is more on the malicious side of jealousy.
Yeah.
You're malicious and you're hateful. And what do you
I
think, Anne? Am I on the right track with that?
To me, I would have said before you said that envy is just another word, because no English has multiple words for the same thing. We're paying for it, and yeah, go on. Yeah, we have multiple words in English. That's why we're the most wordy language apparently on the planet. We've got that many versions of the way to say the same word. To me, I always thought that envy and jealousy was just another way of saying the same thing. Like saying happy and glad or happy and pleased, that. It was just another one. But now that you've put it like that, I can see where you're coming from. That envy is more a silent, it's a non-reactive emotion, isn't it? Envy.
Perfect.
You're just envious.
Perfectly said.
Whereas jealousy is enacting it, it's voicing it, carrying it out. So yeah, I see what you mean now. So I agree with you. Yeah, it's more.
Verifying.
One's passive, one's aggressive, isn't it? And reactive.
That's perfectly said.
Yeah.
True.
But just look through the comments here, see. Let's say, how do you one or two of your siblings? Well, this is a good one, Happy Larry. How do you know one or two of your siblings don't harbor secret jealousy and resentment? Now, this, I know he's talking to someone, Mrs. O, in the chat, but this is an important one. As a parent, can you recognize when I think you'll always, if you've got more than one child, you're always going to get jealousy at some point. But when is it just a temper thing and just, I don't like you at this minute? Or when is it actually brewing into something which could be seriously destructive in the future? That's the question.
Definitely. My youngest daughter, I sometimes think it's like a little bit, it's like Snow White, with the Wicked Queen and stuff.
There are signs
that she sort of, she's more beautiful, she's more gorgeous, and like I'm not saying that I'm jealous, but I'm saying that it's sort of like, she kind of looks at me and like I get that sort of like jealousy of, we're talking about siblings, right? But she can be really jealous, but like you said, Anne, it is that sort of thing within that minute that she'll probably grow out of, hopefully, if taught right and tracked right, that she doesn't need to be jealous of anybody or her mom or anything.
The signs of persons, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Super. So this is the thing, pardon me. There's signs of people harboring jealousy or having jealousy without, actually saying I'm jealous. And it would be low self-esteem, showing signs of low self-esteem, anxiety, moodiness, depression, possessiveness, showing signs of insecurities, showing signs of fear of abandonment. Don't leave me, or, things like that, where they show signs of fear of abandonment, codependency, anxious attachment style, where they have anxious attachment to things. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make sure we didn't pass that by, because the question was, how do I know without the person saying I'm jealous? They might show those personality traits or manifest those behaviors So I thought I'd bring that up before we pass that topic there.
Yeah.
But I've known him as, say, people, you know, brothers and sisters and sis. It's usually it tends to be, though, on the whole, I'd say the vast majority, it's either two brothers or two sisters. It seems it's rare that it's like mixed genders that are like that. It seems to be one is competitive with the other one, but I've seen them, and when they're grown up, they hate each other's guts. It's like, I can't stand you. Then suddenly, ping, something happens. I don't know, the hormones settle down or something.
Right. They become
they love each other. They die for each other. And it's like, it's amazing watching it, how that happens. And it's like, because I never got the chance with my cousins and all that. I never had the chance to get into that bonding relationship with them because I hardly ever saw them. I was always working. So I never saw them. And when I saw them as I grew up, it was like I was a complete stranger to them. They were a stranger to me. You tried to get on. But I think I've said this before, Christine. I sort of like, I don't know. For some reason, I can get in situations and I like to be quiet. I'm talking here, but you know, if we went out and we're having a meal or something like that, and say that we had a meal together, and so say, Super, you invited us all around for a meal, you know, and we're all sitting there eating. One, you will turn around and say, "Anne, why are you so quiet? Are you okay?" And that really, I got that all my life. I'd be as happy as Larry sitting there, having fun with me, listening to people. I used to love listening to people. And I go, I'm all right. Are you sure? And then I think, now I am feeling pissed, actually. I am, because I wasn't born with a happy face. I used to say that I was born with a downturned mouth, and people would think, and my other relations get this. They say, oh, yeah, well, it will, the one that kills me, it will never happen. I feel like saying, yeah, and my fist will never happen in your face if you can say that to me again. Well, I don't say that, but I feel like saying it. But, you know, but I'll sit there and people think I'm dead. So when I'm with me relations when they're older, they're thinking that I'm being, you know, like, what am I doing here with these peasants? And it's not that at all. I'm just more interested listening. When I'm actually at a table, I love listening to people. I'm not the one. On YouTube, it looks like I'm just gab.
I love listening to you, Anne. I love you.
But I love watching other people, and especially because I don't drink as well. And I see people drinking away. And I tell you now, it gets from the point where I'm amused by them. I hear them talking, and everyone loves you when they're drunk. It's suddenly they love you and they tell you how much they care about you, and you think, yeah, you do.
All their love, emotions.
And then, oh yeah, comes out.
I've listened to you sober, obviously.
Hopefully.
Saturday night, right?
Oh god, it's funny, but yeah, this I think what is jealousy now as well. And envy, but more jealousy now, is in this world because everyone, or the vast majority of youngsters now, are grown up wanting to be a someone. You've got to be a someone now. You've got to be. In my day, what I was doing was rare. You didn't get many people doing it. And now, everyone's wanting to be a celeb, and they're wanting to be the best, and they want to be the famous one. So I think jealousy now is much, much more rife. But it is. Who would have thought, here we are, Super F, who would have thought that these big men with the bare knuckle boxing would be a load of jealous queens raging?
It's like a load of women, isn't it? To be fair.
It is. It's like I watch them and I think, good God, you're so bitchy and jealous.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I've looked at it over the past few weeks, and I've just been like, it's laughable. It's laughable, you know. And you've got people trying to do serious things, but there's like the in between thing, which is just a load of bollocks and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like it's irrelevant. It's bollocks. It's YouTube. Like,
yeah,
it's worst. It's worst, man.
And they sort of make up. I mean, I've done as well. I've done no videos about podcasting the wars because I think, oh, this is fascinating me, this going on like this. But this has opened a new world to me because when it first started, because really the first one was Sean Atwood, wasn't he? He was the first one. Then there was James English. Now, James English doesn't get involved as much as, well, behind the scenes he might, but out in your face he isn't involved in it. But, suddenly it turned into I'm a podcaster, I'm interviewing people, and they all start hating the guts out of each other. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, I'm not watching this because of the person you're interviewing. I'm watching this because I want to see all this drama kicking off. And it's also like we should start up the real ex-bad men of whatever city they're in. No, like the Real Housewives. We'll call the real bad, because they'll be also, and we'll have to start getting them wigs because we've got to, they've got to wear the wigs, wear the makeup.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be something because it's like, me personally, I'm sort of like turning off to that. It's like, it's not even watchable. It's just shit content. If you want to, go on.
Sometimes it gets, switch off because it gets too much, doesn't it? It gets too nasty and it gets too
boring,
really ugly. Yeah, and bored as well. And it's like, this, and that, as I said before, it's got to be the next level up. And if they can't keep that next level up, it becomes boring. And I wouldn't mind when you look at YouTube, right? And they're all like trying to get become major forces. On average, you're talking about, let's say, if you're lucky, you'll get to about 30,000 followers if you're lucky.
If you're lucky. If you're a bit good,
Yeah, getting to the standard of James English and getting to the standard of Sean Atwood, and especially True Geordie, over 1 million. It's rare.
Yeah.
In that scenario, that's subject matter. But then you look at other YouTubers and they've got millions of followers. And what are they doing? They're doing about makeup. They're doing about cats. They're doing about puppies. So if they're looking for worldwide fame and millions, they're in the wrong one. What I always say, if you want to have the perfect channel, what you want to do is be male, putting on makeup, having a cat in your arms, talking about cat things, and at the same time doing a tester of food and all this. And you've got it. You've got the perfect channel.
Like diamond in the house.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, look, Jeffree Star. I mean,
look at him. What an absolute legend.
Huge. So instead of looking at each other, they want to say, well, how do I get to that level where it's just astronomical? And this is it. That's what they've got to be looking at. But they're looking at each other, trying to bring each other down. And I think Sean's right in what he said.
Somebody said something the other day about like YouTubers getting together rather than like being apart and stuff. I can't remember who it was right now, but like, people have to get together and they have to get together and do stuff together and stop bringing each other down and stop being jealous maybe or envious or doing whatever and just come together because you've got your likes of Louis Theroux who's doing like, and I know it's the BBC and I know people don't generally like the BBC and everything, but he's like going and speaking to streamers who are far right wing like people and like is showing like far right wingers who are on YouTube who are planning to be the next president of America and all this and everything. And I know people slag the BBC, but come on, he's like showing people who are doing that stuff and that they're live on YouTube. They're live and they're streaming and they're getting millions of like viewers on lives and stuff. And you have to like, you have to do some, your content has to be relevant and not just fucking picking on other people and
that's it
and all that. And because it's like, I don't know whether it's jealousy or whether it's envious or, there is a sort of like, element of that, isn't there, going on with them?
Oh, it's definitely, and they're not going to make it. And I tell you why they're not
Oh,
going to make it. A lot of them, a hell of a lot of them aren't going to make the vast majority. Is because they think, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to interview someone. It's not that easy. It's
no,
being an interviewer is a professional job that people are
very
trained
well.
to do. And even though he can't stand my guts, I'd say one of the best ones out there at the moment is James English in the UK. I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and the other ones. There's a reason why True Geordie, and again, I have my issues with them after they did that really horrific thing, and literally I saw it as an act of bullying against me. What they did. Now they, but even though they did that, there's a reason why they're successful, because they're good at interviewing people. They're very good at controlling the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And another one that's good as well is Billy Moore. He's another good one. And but you've got to be at that standard, or be able to get to that standard. A lot of it's natural, a lot of it is training. You have to be trained. But there's too many out there. And they start interviewing someone. It's like me coming on, oh, Christine, I'd like to talk about you. And then I start, going on about something else that isn't even relevant. But Christine, you've been quiet too long. Come on, jump in. You've got to be more. Go on, get
Oh
that
my
competitive edge in you. Get that competitive edge. Get in there and say, I'm going to have my say. Go on.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm always looking at my research while you're, bringing up topics. One of the things I wanted to, I was going to save it for my closing statement, but I was looking at this one topic here about there's no cure for jealousy, and we kind of went over that. It says, seeing as jealousy can be brought on by so many varying factors, there is no standard cure for the emotion. However, just noting that the emotion exists and it's clouding your brain is the most important part. Jealousy is normal and can be a tricky thing to navigate. Understanding why we feel triggered and uncovering the emotions leading up to it can be very constructive.
Yeah.
When I start feeling this way, or when one starts feeling this way, why do I feel threatened? Or why does one feel threatened? Is there something missing? Why parts of my personality are involved in this feeling? What parts of my personality are involved in this feeling? So it's good to call yourself out. It's good to really, start becoming mindful. If you're a person that happens to have a lot of jealousy, like I said, don't let it consume your life. If you are that person, because it could take over your whole life, and that's sad. That's sad for a person. And it also, there's another thing. The severity of jealousy can be dependent on mental health. There's people out there that they're born with certain mental health issues that could be mild, but those can trigger, and then certain external factors in their life, like family problems or relationship problems, they can be more apt to be jealous more than a person that wasn't born with certain mental issues. And then they've got external problems coming in on top of that, such as family problems, relationship problems, wherein your mate might not understand you or any one person that has a mental issue, in the background. And then they come into a relationship, and that person is not handling how to combat the person that they, the situation in that relationship with the person that they love, and not getting the help for that person, because instead of trying to understand them, why are you so jealous? It's so unattractive. It's so unattractive. I can't be with a person like you. It is unattractive, but the person might not get that person the right help. You know what I mean? And that could be damaging to a person who maybe wants to change, maybe needs to go to counseling, and maybe needs to build their self-esteem, and maybe needs to go take some classes that will make them feel self-sufficient, or maybe they always wanted to take dance, or maybe they always wanted to be a singer and go take some vocal classes, and maybe that will make them feel good about themselves, so they're not always having issues with self-hate, that they might display jealousy or be so insecure and feel fear of abandonment within the relationship that they're in, that they're constantly being consumed by jealousy and they're taking it out on their mate. So they're going to continue that pattern throughout their life and never have a happy relationship.
Yeah.
And just be all consumed by it, which was a big rant, and I hope you understood.
Oh
what
no, I get exactly what you said. I mean, it's and it's also moving it on. If you don't get a handle on it, it moves it on into other areas, and also with parents as well. If you've got parents expressing jealousy in front of the children, that's going to set that normal for the child. That's the way they should actually behave and grow up, which is, you know, this what gets me, the most important role on the planet, the most important job as a parent.
Yeah,
it's the most responsible job, and of course no one's going to ever be the perfect parent, but you know, if the child is seeing all this jealousy going on, is seeing all this strife going on, it's going to have a devastating effect on that, because that child will grow up and pick it up. People
I think you know, my dad died when like I was 4 and stuff, and like he was like, he was a bit of a ladies man and stuff, and he liked you know, like women, and and it was like a big toll on my mum and stuff, and like, you know, being only 4 when he died, and it sort of like it left a bitter taste in my mum's mouth, you know, because he died. So I never got that sort of, oh, your dad was brilliant. It was always your dad. Well, it wasn't so much sort of that, but it was like, it was never a good thing about my dad because he wasn't good to my mum and stuff. So it took a long time for me to realise what like my mum went through because of what my dad did, even though I love my dad, but I didn't get the fact that I didn't sort of get that sort of thing and stuff. So, you know, I definitely with the parent thing, it's an important, I don't necessarily think it's a good thing to lie to your children, but I also think it's not a good thing to sort of, you know, put those things on your children type.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
See, to me, and I was saying this the other day about, you know, mother came online and started going on about her partner or her ex-husband who has got a channel is, you know, hopeless and all this. And I said, but you seen a son in one point coming into view. And I thought that's totally the opposite to the way I was brought up. Everything was hidden. And you never call one parent to the child, because guess what? When the child grows up, the chances are they'll turn on you because you were called the other parent, and that does happen. And this is it's all hidden, because no, you say you don't like your children, but sometimes I say, just say no, everything's okay, it's okay, that's all right. Because I am of that thing, children should be brought up in cotton wool until they're a certain age, then, because I think there's nothing more precious than having a childhood, and then introduce them to the world slowly. And that, but you know what, you don't even have to, the child picks her up themselves, they say. But there's nothing about, there's nothing about children as well, and jealousy and envy. If you want to know the roots, that jealousy is more or less a natural human instinct, or it's in us. The most jealous, most envious stages of our lives are when we are little toddlers. That's mine, the me stage. Mine. That's what they call it, the mind stage. That's mine. I want that, that's mine. And every toddler goes through that. But that happens. But if you notice as well, because I've worked with people with learning difficulties and Down syndrome people and that as well, they can be very jealous. So it seems to be that it's an innate, like love, like sadness. It's a happiness.
It's always the thing, sorry, Anne, to interrupt, but it's like, oh, you have to share, you know, that's it. You have to share. But why do you have to share? You don't have to. You don't necessarily. I always used to think, you don't have to share. I got to the point, you know, where all the mums are going, you have to share, you have to do whatever. I'm like, you don't really have to if you don't want to. You don't have to if you don't want to. You have to make up your own decision whether you share or not, because you get loads of mums, don't you? And you get loads of precious mums, because mums are mums, aren't they? And they're like, oh, share this, oh, be nice, and you go to the parties and you do whatever you're doing and everything, and you're like, oh, share and all be nice and everything. You don't necessarily have to be, because you're going to grow up eventually and you're going to know that you don't have to do that. So why not sort of like start it from young and like, and be true, be true and be honest to your children. It's not necessarily going to work out all nice, and not everybody's going to share with you. You're not always going to share, because nobody's going to share with you at the end of the day. You're going to have to teach that from a young age. If more mums did that, were more like honest with the children, then it'd be better. But that's the things with mums, right? Mums are mums, aren't they? And mums go to like church groups and play areas and all that and do what they're doing, and they're all like all this. But I remember once with my eldest daughter and everything, and she was like dead chubby and stuff. And I remember one mum saying, oh, it's nice to see you when babies have cellulite. And I was like, she said that. I was like, are you joking? She's a baby. She's a baby. Well, whatever. And I just walked away. But that is something that sticks in your head. You know, a mum to say that about a baby. Even, I was like, shocker. I'm just like, you know.
God. If she'd seen me as a baby, I was huge. I was the little laughing Buddha, the fat Buddha, laughing baldy. I never had a blade of hair on my head.
Oh,
big gummy smile. After, do you know what? I had to have all my teeth. This was horrible. Well, I can't remember. I had to have all my teeth taken out, because I was actually born with little teeth. And so they had to actually take them out for some reason. I don't know why. Can't even remember why they said it. But so that left me with this gummy grin. I'm talking about when I was a little, couldn't walk, but then. And I used to have photographs of myself, and God knows where they've got. I'm huge. I have baldy head, and I am. If you get that laughing Buddha, and it's like that, you know, that's me as a baby. I was huge, and suddenly, when I got to about 4, it all fell off, and it became a stick insect. It was strange, but when you say that, she'd seen me, she was like, my God, what's that? It's a big. I was massive.
It starts from a young age, this jealousy shit, doesn't it?
I think it's innate. It's a human emotion that's innate. And all that you can do is control it.
Absolutely.
And wherever you're born, what culture you're in. Another thing, a lot of this problems we've got now with youths, knife crime and all that, and gangs and all this business, that's another expression of jealousy and envy.
Absolutely.
Because they want something that someone else has got and all this. But the only thing you can do is, saying that, you know, jealousy, saying that you can sort of like stop jealousy, I think it's like saying that you can stop yourself feeling sad. It's never going to happen. No. All that you can do is recognize when it arises and deal with it at that moment, like I did when I realized I was getting jealous, and I looked back and I thought, my God, the things I just.
But I realised that, right, from a young age, right, at my auntie's flipping hairdressers, because she had like hairdressers in the house, so my nan and my auntie and my mum and everybody, they used to go to the back room, and they used to have like these mad hair dryers, they all used to
I remember those.
And the smell.
It was the most horrendous, toxic ever, scariest place. I wouldn't say toxic, right? It was scary though, right? Because you get your nan with her best mate, Auntie Amy and stuff, who'd like come along and stuff, and they all be sat under having a fucking curly rinse and all that, doing whatever they were doing. And like, if you was naughty, you'd get sat in a chair and everything. You'd not be able to move for a minute. And like, if you was like, I'm fucking moving, you'd go. Put her back in the chair and everything. Yeah. And it comes back to sort of that thing with sort of like, you know, like mums and stuff. And like, I always thought, you know, like when I was a mum, I was never ever going to be that sort of mum and stuff. And my mum was the loveliest mum ever, and she was, you know, everyone's mum was the loveliest mum, but she was the loveliest mum, and like she was dead easily influenced and stuff. But like, you know, there was no jealousy there. There was absolutely no jealousy. There was a bit of like envy, like stuff going on in sort of like probably money, like somebody mentioned earlier and stuff, that she didn't have that much and everything, but like, you know, she made do and stuff. And the thing is, like what we're saying with like knife crime and all that and everything's gone mental, and like people need to just like look at each other and just like realize that like everybody's the same and stuff, and nobody needs to be jealous about anybody, do they? Right? Because we've all got the same problems. Yeah, everybody's got similar like issues, and why would you be jealous of anybody, of any, whether they've got loads of money and all that and everything? I don't get it.
Well, look at this situation, right?
Yeah.
A certain prince has just got off from being put to trial and put in prison because he could fork out £12 million, right, to his victim. Now, if you're someone who's got no money and you can't pay that money out to be held above, are you going to be jealous of that?
I'm not going to be jealous. I'm going to be fucking disgusted, right? Because at the end of the day, he's put his mum through it, right?
Yeah.
He's put his mum through it. What a position to put your mum in and stuff. You know, hasn't she fucking ruled the fucking...
No. Just wait a minute. Watch the language.
Sorry.
I'll let you get away with a few, but I'll check you when it's out.
Yeah, sorry. I swear a lot, and you have to forgive me for that. But like, you know, I'll try. But no, I will. I find it difficult not to swear, and
I know. If you concentrate, just look at my face when you say it, and you'll see this.
So
you'll see.
So his mum's ruled the country forever, and all of a sudden, she's got to bail him out and stuff. What an absolute disgrace! It's absolutely disgusting that he's even put himself in a position, which is that position. I don't genuinely think that he's like he's done that, because I think, you know, his position, he slept with like millions and millions of like women. Well, not millions, but hundreds, but I don't think genuinely he's slept with younger women. I think he's put himself in a really bad position.
She was 17, wasn't she? And in the UK, I know in the UK, you'll know this, Super. 17 is like, that's not underage here. Right. But in America, it is. In America, there'd be no case to answer at all. No case. Yeah. So it's where it is. But what gets me is, I say, when people are jealous of money, and it's when people say that it's honest when someone's jealous of money or jealous of possessions or whatever, because it's the environment and it's the culture. Look, years ago, as they always say, what you hear, the really old generation, so years ago they had nothing, so they weren't jealous of each other because there was nothing to be jealous of. Everything more or less had the same kind of thing, which was nothing, basically. But once we started getting into having televisions, having telephones, having things, that's when it started, because people could start showing off with it. It starts to become, because what's a telephone?
What's the position to put himself in the middle of a part with Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, that's just, I was using that as a thing, just an example of where jealousy can arise. But she'll be getting jealousy now, because people will be going, wait a minute, there's many people who were abused, right? And they'll get no compensation, or they might get a few hundred compensation, and they suddenly see her getting 12 million. So she'll be getting the jealousy now. Hit her there to tell now she'll know what jealousy is. But
what would you do with 12 million quid? What would you do with it?
Don't even go there and say we don't need it. I need it. I need 12 million. Look, if anyone's wanting to donate 12 million, I need, look at this face. It's needy. It's needy. It needs a 12 with 6 zeros on the end of it. It's needy. Yeah. Oh, what? When people, you know what gets me? I'll just put this in quickly. You know what really gets my goat? Is when people win the lottery and they win millions. Or the pools, and they turn around and say, oh, it won't change me. And I think, well, you shouldn't have won it then. You shouldn't have won it. Give it to someone who it will change the life, who will have fun, who will go out and go absolutely mad on it. What if I won that? I'd I'd be sensible enough to keep stuff aside to keep me going, but I'd go mad at the same time. Because as I say, when people say, "Oh no, rich people in harsh times shouldn't splash the wealth," if they don't splash the wealth out in hard times, guess what? The economy suffers. The
That's right.
time you need rich people to start spending and flashing that spending is when it's bad.
Splashing cash. Hashtag splashy cash.
Yeah, what was that one? Spend, spend, spend. Did you ever hear of her? What was her name? She won the pools, and when she won them, the football pools we have here.
I love the football pool.
And Littlewoods, and my mama used to know the Littlewoods
You used to
people.
sit there on a Saturday night doing crosses.
Yeah, the crosses and all that. She used to know them. Had been in the houses and everything. But David Moore, she used to know. Now, when you get that. And this woman in the 60s, Christine, just like, no, she won the football pools, and she won the equivalent back then of winning a few million. And when she stood up, she turned around and famously said, they said, "What are you going to do?" And she said, "I'm going to spend, spend, spend." They've made films about it and a play about it as well. Well, she did just that. And it's unbelievable that she got rid of the whole lot, but she did. She ended up on benefits.
You would do. So what? You'd spend it. Just spend it.
I can't stand it when people say, "It wouldn't change me. I'm a cleaner in my local school. I'm still going to be a cleaner." No, bugger off and give someone else a chance to have the job. You enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
True, yeah. I don't get it. People talk, and it's usually the ones that, "Oh, I thought they'd win it." And it's like, no. Needy people like me should get it. Needy people like me should get it. But yeah. But do you want to add any more, Christine? Because you go into quiet moments.
This is a perfect. Well, I've expressed what I wanted to express, but I think this is a perfect close for what I have to say. And I like the way this goes because it ties in one of our other discussions. But it's from Psychology Today, and it says, while there's no magical cure, jealousy can be analyzed and likely avoided in the future. Reaching this point may include practicing mindfulness, therapy, challenging your negative thoughts, and having intimate conversations and being honest.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say about that.
You have to be absolutely, because I'm mad jealous of what you have on your wall there. I look at your wall, and you can't see the mirror, but there's a beautiful mirror there, isn't there? Oh yeah. Oh no, I thought it was a mirror. Yeah, it is a mirror. Yeah, I'm mad jealous of that.
One day I'll put my camera a different way.
It's lovely though. But yeah, and if you've got if you got licorice cigarettes,
I've got licorice cigarette papers. Look, yeah.
I was talking about them the other day. Licorice, Rizla. I remember when they first came out in the 70s, everyone was buying them. Oh, these Rizla and the cigarette machines. Do you remember them?
I remember. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I remember cigarette machines. I'm 54 and a half. I'll be 55 in June.
I'm 35. Don't even think of laughing. Don't even think of laughing. Don't even think of laughing. But yeah, do you know the place I went to and I was absolutely, it was a smoker's heaven. God, the variety I've never seen before. No, Poland.
I love that.
My God, they have the variety of cigarettes they have.
Do you smoke?
No, I used to. I gave up a few years ago.
Okay.
But you go there and they actually have cigarettes for women as well, special cigarettes just for women, and you can get strawberry flavored ones with gold. And I remember I was walking down the street, they had these beautiful red ones with gold tips on them.
I love it.
I remember that.
You used to be able to get them in Blackpool in Smoker's Choice. You used to be able to walk underneath the Blackpool Tower.
Yeah.
There was a shop there, and he had a lovely rack of cigarettes, and they had gold tips and everything. And you could get
lovely these
I remember those.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, and I've been
over that like 80s. I think it was in the 80s. I remember that.
But in Poland now, they have the variety is absolutely amazing, and they really didn't go. And I'm walking down the street with this red one, and I'd gone to get my nose done. I got rhinoplasty on my nose, and this translator that was with me, because I couldn't speak a word of Polish, said to me, and said, "I wouldn't smoke them." So I said, "Why?" She said, "They're really for ladies who are wanting to display that they're feminine and all this." So I said, So I said, I'll get strange looks. She said, oh, yeah. She said, no. People, which they did, people didn't take notice, but I thought these were the most glamorous things.
Right.
But I've never seen such a variety. Chocolate flavored cigarettes. Oh, they had all sorts. But the only thing that I didn't like about Poland was the cakes. You'd see a cake and it would be gorgeous, beautiful cakes. And when you bite it, it'd be like, oh, it doesn't look as nice as it. But do you know, I always say I'm going to go over there again with some suitcases, because when I went over, I didn't take enough suitcases with me, and I could only come up with a couple of things. Got a beautiful Swarovski vase, which over here would have cost
Oh,
£100.
right.
There was only just over £100, but the prices of things there are cheap as chips compared to here. So you're like, if I can get through the duty free, I'm going to get loads of Swarovski next time and do that, because I love me Swarovski. Oh, and I had a Swarovski thing I was going to show off, but I'm
You like your things, don't you?
Oh, I love me Swarovski crystals. They're just absolutely.
I love them too.
Aren't they? They just, there's nothing. Just I've got a necklace
Breathtaking. I love them.
breathtaking. I've got one that's called Ice Cube, and it's not Ice Cube, ice. And do you know what it's about that big? Or I'm not going to tell you how much it was. And I got it in the sale, but it was extremely expensive, even in the sale. Got it years ago. And do you know what? When you put it on, it's just like, it's a beacon. It's a beacon when the light hits it, more than any diamond could ever do. The most precious.
Tell you what I like Murano glass.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love that. All of that.
Clowns and that. I like my clowns.
Yeah. I used to I've got a Murano rings. I broke one, got a chip in it, which I'm mad about. Yeah, got 2 Murano rings, but I'm sure I've got Murano somewhere else. I've got somewhere else. But what I love about Murano is I'm not so much into the clowns and things like that, but some of the vases they do with and especially that Mille Fiore, another million flowers and all that.
Yeah.
Beautiful, and the evil eyes they do, I like them as well. But have you ever been to the Murano factory?
I've never been to Italy, Anne, ever.
Oh, God blimey! Just make sure you get jealous of those people with the millions, because when you go, it's like, do you know what? £30 for a cup of coffee.
How much?
£30 equivalent for a cup of coffee when I went. And could
funny.
you buy it?
Is it a good cup of coffee?
And could you buy anything? No, because you thought, no way, I might as well go home and buy it on eBay or buy it on Amazon, because it'll be a hell of a lot cheaper than buying it from the factory. But they do
That's funny you mentioned those crystal eyes. Are you talking about to ward off the jealous eye? Because that's kind of our topic. Yeah. Those are beautiful.
Well, I've got a ring, a Swarovski ring, which is an evil eye, and a pendant as well. I've got 2 of them. But for some reason, the pendant one's gone a bit strange, the colour on it. But yeah, I've got those 2. And so I used to put the ring on and go like that, and go, the evil eye.
Well, it's to ward off the jealous eye, actually.
Is it?
I think you're talking about the same thing. It's part of the Arab culture.
Yeah. And the Sahanda Hamza, isn't as well?
Right. So it's to ward off jealousy, actually. So you're warding off the jealous eye. It's to ward off the jealous eye.
Yeah. Do you know what I use as well for maybe that's a little tip? I was saying this the other day on one of my things. The negativity thing, to clear away negativity from your house or whatever. I use Florida water. Do you know about that, Christine? Florida water.
Educate me.
You get, it's a cologne actually, and it was Caribbean people, or Caribbean as you say in America, people who made it popular. But it's a bottle of cologne. You can get it on Amazon, and for some reason people believe that if you put it in your bath water, just 3 splashes into your bath water and have a bath, it will cleanse you of all negativity. And also when you mop on your floors or doing your surfaces, if you put 3 shakes in the water, it will clear negativity from everything. It's only cheap as well.
Where'd you get it from? Where'd you get it from?
You can get it on Amazon. You put on Amazon Florida water. It's a cologne. It smells of it has got a strong smell on it. And you can get little bottles or you can get a big bottle. The big bottle's the best one. I think it's about, I might be wrong though, about £12 for the bigger bottle. And it will last you months and months and
I'm
months.
gonna
But you
get
just put it around or spray it a bit. And you can even put it on yourself because it's a cologne. But it's a female smell, let's put it that way. A man would.
cover myself with Florida water.
Oh yeah, just three shakes in the bath, just very quick, and then you have your bath, and it gets rid of all the negativity out of you. And people that say they do the floors. If you actually put in Florida water, you get a lot of people on YouTube saying how to use it.
Oh,
It
I'll
is
have
a
to
good
check
thing.
that out.
It
Sounds
is good. It's very good. And Santo Paulo, the sticks, I love them. It's these sticks that you burn. And they give off a smell when you burn them and you wave them around the room. They're lovely. Oh, I love them because when I do that on myself and do it around myself like that, you can literally feel it lifting off you. I mean, it might be psychological, but it works for me that way. It's like, oh, that's lovely.
We'll try it, Anne.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Smells can be very good for your psyche. And I don't think anything's wrong with saying that. I think smells have been known to bring back bad memories. So why not bring a good smell to you that makes you feel good and brings you in a good place. So I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I think ritual. That's it. It's just even if it's people don't believe in them, I think a sort of ritual like that helps you focus, and it helps you focus on the problem in hand. Because if you're feeling negativity, if you're going to do something like use Florida water, it means that you're recognizing that there's something negative going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to start addressing it by focusing in on it. And so I think and look at ancient culture. What culture doesn't have incense sent up to the gods? They always believed that the incense communicated with the gods and the spirit worlds. And it seems to be everywhere, no matter where you go, aroma was considered a spiritual thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. So it's definitely something going. I'll have to do a video sometime, on this, because I looked into this. Ancient man. I think we're going off the topic, aren't we?
Well, it's interesting. That's okay. I was married to a man from Iran for 21 years, and they do something like that. It's called S-Fan, and it's something they put into this beautiful, it's, I don't know what it's called, but it's a beautiful, sorry, I've got something here, a beautiful container made of like brass.
Yeah.
And they burn it, and it's supposed to cleanse the air. Originally made to cleanse the air from impurities, but also has a spiritual aspect to it to ward off evil. And so they burn it around the room to cleanse the air from bacteria and sickness and things like that, but also get rid of evil and negativity and stuff like that. And so you're right, many cultures have that, the Eastern cultures, and even in Catholicism,
Oh, it's very important, and it's a beautiful smell. If anyone
it's so
isn't
beautiful.
a Catholic,
I know, I love it.
If anyone isn't a Catholic, and I was brought up a Catholic until I was 12, and they'd said no, I don't want to be in it anymore. But do you know what? I do go into the cathedrals and stuff like that. But if anyone hasn't been in the Catholic Church, you are missing the most divine smell. And doesn't it put your frame of mind? And this is why it's so important. Smell does affect your emotions and your brain.
That's what I mean, yes.
Because once you smell that incense, I mean, it's a science, really, how they must get this scent together. And you go into it and you immediately, or I do, I go into a church and I get that smell and I just want to close my eyes and hear that echoing when someone's walking about and all that. Oh, it's the most lovely thing it is.
I totally agree.
I've not been in a church for ages. Man.
It brings you to a peaceful place, and that's a positive thing, and I love hearing that from
Yeah.
Oh, it always does. I've always said that you have definitely aroma, and I did one actually. I did one on but it was essential oils more than just aroma as such. I did a course on us where you get qualified in it on how to use essential oils, and it is, and how you mix them is so precise. I mean,
I
down to
do
the
that.
drop, and you've got to get it just right, or you get it wrong. And I remember one that I always remember, and I found out from there, juniper. Juniper
love
essential
it.
oil. Do you know if I'm ever like that, feeling really tired, I just sniff juniper oil, and it just
Love it.
brings
I love
me.
it.
Or you can drink it because gin's got juniper in it.
Yeah, but I don't drink though. That's it.
No, I know.
I'm
Careful
good,
measurement,
I am.
but yeah.
But yeah, oh yeah, juniper. But it's an essential part of, as I say, getting into that right state of mind. But ancient man definitely knew something. I've always said that, mankind. And I was going to do a video, about things that I found out, because I looked into burial rituals and what they were buried with, and there was definitely a trend. And it would go from country to country of trend of burying the dead with, when they did burials, with certain stones that they could get hold of, with certain items. And it, because of course then, where now I call it the Disneyland belief system, where you die and you're in the spiritual world. To them, it wasn't so simple. You had to go on a journey, and you had to be equipped with the right things to go on this journey. So they had to be put in your grave. I mean, most probably loads of nonsense. I mean, I hope we just go, we end up where we need to be. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'd like to be put in like a wall, with like my body in it.
Yeah.
So you're not sort of like cremated and not buried, but still preserved and in a wall. I like that idea. So your whole body is sort of still intact, and then
we'll have to do a show on that. I'm telling you now, because I think it's fascinating talking about what people believe, about the death and the afterlife and all this business, and how to get there, and how ancient man used to think about it, because there is definitely a trend. Have you noticed these stones and crystals, and I know you'll be into this, Christine, these crystals, different societies and stones, they had the same view of them. It's like, what amazes me, cultures that never had any connection, or we don't think had connection. Look at the aspen tree, right, and the oak tree. The aspen tree in England, especially with the Druids, was considered a sacred tree. They called them the spirit trees because they believed that the leaves shaking in the wind, quaking, would spirits communicate with them. And the Druids used to go into these aspen groves to learn the trade for something ridiculous like 30 years. And they would also worship the oak. You go to Native Americans, what were they all saying about the spirit trees? The aspen tree. And they also idolized the oak tree. Isn't it strange how different cultures all have the same view of we've lost some information that ancient man had, some knowledge that they had. We've lost it because it's big. Go on, Christine.
The beauty of the aspen tree, and I think a reason why they found it so spiritually profound or noticeable, is that they grew in groves.
Yeah.
And they all grew at the same size and height. So that was the noticeable aspect of them, which ancient people found amazing, is they were all the same size and height. And when they walked through them, it was probably really amazing for them to see it,
and to hear them, because when you hear, they make a beautiful sound. Yeah, the sound, and you can imagine sitting there meditating, which they must have done, the Druids and all that, and the Native Americans, and you're hearing this because the leaves make this wonderful sound.
Right, the rush, the wind. Yeah, I agree.
They all say the spirit, but both cultures source exactly the same thing. It's spirits talking to you. Strange that, isn't it? How they all both came to the same way. But anyway, we've been on for 2 hours, so I'll start winding it up now. So anyone got any last thoughts?
Well, I gave my closing words about it, and I love it. I'm going to repeat it because I think it's really good. And it's, while there's no magical cure, jealousy can be analyzed and likely avoided in the future. Reaching this point may include practicing mindfulness, therapy, challenging your negative thoughts, and having intimate conversations and being honest.
Yeah.
Covers a lot there.
And what do you think between supping your ale there, Gail?
Love it. It's Saturday.
I'm just like, I'm totally like in awe. Thanks, Anne, for letting me on to the panel. And Christine, amazing.
Well, you've got
Oh,
one thing. You've
thank
got a fan
you.
in that. Paris Barrington is saying, "Get your ass here, over here, super. I need a hug." So
Oh,
there we
how
are.
precious.
Just
Honestly.
look, Paris. Right? No, what? Look, I'm getting jealous now. I'm
Oh.
getting jealous, Paris. Don't you dare have anyone above me as being your
Ever.
focus of attention. Yeah, so I'm getting
100%.
jealous now.
I'm nowhere near, absolutely nowhere near.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm watching you. Don't you move. Don't you move in what I've already got my eye on, girlfriend. All right. All right. So anyway,
but
so
you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
brilliant. Well,
Yeah,
I'm thinking of doing one tomorrow, but
Yeah.
it's going to be it's going to be Anne's Mademoiselle Anne's boudoir.
I like your
Open
Love that.
and that's when we can be as bitchy as we want to know this.
Yeah,
I'm
and
checking it out. I'm checking it out.
I'm always checking it out. I've subscribed. I'm in there. I feel like absolutely blessed for you to let me onto your panel, and thanks for asking the questions. And 100% jealousy. Just don't be jealous.
Yeah,
man.
just get control of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll say bye-bye to you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank
my
you so
lovelies.
much, Dan.
And
Thank you.
bye-bye until
Thanks,
next time.
Christine.
Bye.
Thank you. Big
too.
love. Take
Bye.